What do you mean?
To the hip hop, the hip it to the hip hop. You don't stop the rocker to the bang bang boogie. Say up, jump the boogie to the rhythm of the boogie to beat. Now what you hear is not a test. I'm rapping to the beat, and me, the groove, and my friends are gonna try to move your feet. You see, I am Wonder Mike, and I like to say hello. Up to the black, to the white, the red, and the brown, and the purple, and yellow. But first, I gotta bang, bang, the boogie to the boogie. Say up, jump the boogie to the bang, bang, boogie. Let's rock. You don't stop, rock the rhythm that'll make your body rock. Well, so far you've heard my voice, but I brought two friends along. And next on the mic is my man Hank. Come on, Hank, sing that song.
Check it out, I'm the CASN, the OVA, and the rest is FLY. You see, I go by the code of the doctor of the mix, and these reasons I'll tell you why. You see, I'm 6'1", and I'm tons of fun, and I dress to a T. You see, I got more clothes than Muhammad Ali, and I dress so viciously. I got bodyguards, I got two big cars that definitely ain't the whack. I got a Lincoln Continental and a sunroof Cadillac. So after school, I take a dip in the pool, which is really on the wall. I got a color TV so I can see the Knicks play basketball. Him and talking my checkbook, that it costs more money than a sucker could ever spend. But I wouldn't give a sucker or a bum from the rock and not a dime till I made it again. Everybody go, hotel, motel, what you gonna do today? Cause I'm gonna get a fly girl, gonna get some spank and drive off in a death OJ. Everybody go, hotel, motel, holiday inn. Say if your girl starts acting up, then you take her friend. I'm Master G, I'm out mellow, it's on you, so what you gonna do?
Well, it's on and on and on and on and on. The beat don't stop until the break of dawn. I said a M-A-S, a T-E-R, a G with a double E. I said I go by the unforgettable name of the man they call a Master G. Well, my name is known all over the world by all the foxy ladies and the pretty girls. I'm going down in history as the baddest rapper that ever could be. Now I'm feeling the highs and you're feeling the lows. The beat starts getting into your toe. You start popping your fingers and stomping your feet and moving your body while you're sitting and you're sitting. Then damn, you start doing the freak. I said bam, right out of your seat there. You throw your hands high in the air. You rock it to the rhythm, shake your dairy air. You rock it to the beat without a care. Cruise the short shot MCs for the affair. Now I'm not as tall as the rest of the gang, but I rap to the beat just the same. I got a little face and a pair of rhyme eyes. All I'm here to do, ladies, is hypnotize. Sing it on and on and on and on and on. The beat don't stop until the break of dawn. I sing it on and on and on and on and on like a hot butter. The pop, give it, pop, the pop, pop. You don't dare stop or come alive, y'all. Give me what you got. I guess by now you can take a hunch and find that I am the baby of the bunch, but that's okay. I still keep in stride, cause all I'm here to do is just a wiggle your behind. Sing it on and on and on and on. The beat don't stop until the break of dawn. I sing it on and on and on and on and on. Rock, y'all. Throw it on the floor. I'm gonna freak you here, I'm gonna freak you there. I'm gonna move you out of this atmosphere, cause I'm one of a kind and I'll shock your mind. I put the jiggles in your behind. I say the 1, 2, 3, 4, come on, girls, get it on the floor. Come alive, y'all, give me what you got, cause I'm guaranteed to make you rock. I said 1, 2, 3, 4, tell me Wonder Mike, what are you waiting for?
To the hip hop, the hippie to the hippie, the hip hip, the hopper, you don't stop, rock it to the bang bang, the boogie, say up, jump the boogie to the rhythm of the boogie to beat. Well, skittle-a-bebop, we rock a Scooby-Doo, and guess what, America, we love you, cause you rock in a roll with us so much so, you can rock till you're 101 years old. I don't mean to brag, I don't mean to boast, but we're like hot butter on a breakfast toast. Rock it out. A baby bubba to the boogie, then bang bang the boogie to the beat. Beat is so unique. Come on, everybody, and dance to the beat.
Alrighty. We are going to bring to the fold. Our next guest today is Will Reeves, the founder and CEO of Fold, which is the first publicly traded Bitcoin financial services company, trading under the NASDAQ under the ticker FLD. Will co-founded Fold back in 2019 around a simple idea that money you already spend should quietly stack Bitcoin for instead of the points that expire. Before Fold, he ran payments at Bitcoin Ventures Studio Thesis. He built innovation projects inside Google and AAA, well before most of Wall Street took Bitcoin seriously. Today, Fold puts Bitcoin on the shelves at Kroger, onto brand new Visa rewards credit cards, and into the hands of small businesses. He's all doing this through one of the toughest Bitcoin stretches in years, which is exactly why we wanted to bring him on the Daily Stack here today. And so very much associated with the Daily Stack and with what we're doing over at 21 rates. Will, welcome to the Daily Stack.
It's great to be here, even though it is amidst a crushing, difficult bear market. But
yeah,
always when all the progress is made.
Yeah, so we'll try to be a little nice for things that we can't control. Obviously, with the Bitcoin price, things are I've lived through it. I've been in the Bitcoin space since 2017, and so I've seen this before, but does not stop my friends who are not in the Bitcoin space from trying to tell me that Bitcoin is once again dead and going to be going to zero, which we both know is not true. But let's go back to 2019. You were telling people you were building a company to help everyday Americans stack Bitcoin, which is the premise here of the Daily Stack as well, through spending, probably earned through a few blank stares. Take us back to that early bet, and how are you kind of the innovator here in this space?
Well, the was before the idea of earning Bitcoin, and it was, hey, there's this new thing of magic internet money, and there's a group of people that are actually earning in it. So you'll have, you can think of early miners, you can think of people working at early Bitcoin companies, and they were sitting on Bitcoin, and there wasn't much they could do with it besides convert it directly out into USD. And so we saw an opportunity of, hey, let's make this into actual money. Let's let people use it in their daily lives by, putting food on the table, buying things. And so our first product was how to spend Bitcoin. Mm-hmm. And today you have some of the, OGs in the space were some of the earliest users of the product. And it was great in terms of solving, what we thought was the main issue of making this money. How do we make it? And it worked. People lived on their Bitcoin, and they loved the service. Now, we were there to build not only just something a small group of people loved, but something big. And so between the fact that not many people had Bitcoin, and even those that did, many people were still saying, hey, we're early in the adoption phase of this. Why would I spend it? And so that is really what forced us to rethink our plan. And it is where we made the tweak of earning Bitcoin first. It's my belief that all Bitcoin will be earned in the future. But we wanted to bring that in earlier as a way to bring more people into the space, and the idea of earning Bitcoin on your purchases, paying your bills, all of those things is going to be a great way to bring people in. 90% of Americans are already doing these things, but they're earning worthless tokens, airline tokens, and hotel points. Our bet was that this could be a big thing, switching earning rewards from, something that is typically associated with spending and something that turns it into saving for the long term. And that's really where we got started, and where the growth changed in the entire company.
No, I love it. And you guys recently, I think as early as this month, launched a new credit card, right? That I believe 4%. Correct me if I'm wrong on my research here, but how is that rollout going, and how does the Gemini and Coinbase credit cards like changed your approach of how you guys have to differentiate and things of that nature?
Yeah, I mean, we wanted to bring a product. This is the number one requested product at Fold. It is a long time in the making, and what we wanted to bring is a really mass market, very simple card to market. And so the flat rate, there are really no caps on or categories that you're subjected to. You don't need to lock up a bunch of Bitcoin on our platform. So I think it excels in being the simplest, most dependable card on the market. Not to mention, you get access to the rest of our ecosystem, which lets you earn rewards on your bills, on shopping at our partner merchants. So the ability to earn Bitcoin is just much higher at Fold. That's what we've really focused on and specialize in. But also it comes with the benefits of, no need to lock up your Bitcoin, keep that in cold storage. You don't need to put it on someone's platform, and no categories. So it's just very, very simple. I think that's where it excels. It's also a great looking card. It's nice and metal, nice and heavy. And so far the response has been great. And we're looking forward to opening it up to really everyone. We're still in that early access phase.
Now, we're an entrepreneurs of a much smaller company, right? We have 21 rates. We have the Daily Stack podcast, not a public company. Can you talk me through, as an entrepreneur, making that jump from a private company to a public company? How has that changed the operations? You have to probably be a little bit more media savvy in terms of how you're answering even questions on this with a public company, and what you can say and what you can't say. But I think for all young entrepreneurs that are, that ultimate goal of ringing the bell and getting on the NASDAQ or becoming a public company, how has that changed your life and the business as a whole?
Yeah, well, I think for, speaking to entrepreneurs out there, I think there are more paths than ever to, creating a business that works for you. The addition of AI lets small teams, I think, achieve bigger things than potentially they could have before. Staying private has its own amazing benefits. I sometimes remember those days and remember fondly. But public markets, I think, was interesting for us because there was no personal financial services company servicing Bitcoin and Bitcoiners that was in public markets. And the truth is that being publicly listed brings a halo to the business that opens up partnerships, opens up doors that would not have been opened, especially to a company working in Bitcoin. And so for us, it was a lot about building trust, reputation, transparency. And we knew being first through the door would allow us to, get the lion's share of those benefits. And it's totally, turned out to be true. A lot of the momentum over the last year and a half is all associated with that. Now, my life or the company's life is different. A lot more people reviewing everything you say. It's a lot less free. In some cases, less fun. But ultimately, I think it was the platform that is going to let Fold reach the most possible people. And we're excited. I think we're very excited about the path we chose, but also, as our entire market moves out of a bear market into a bull market, I think we're going to be extraordinarily well positioned.
Yeah. And recently we had Michael Saylor go on screen multiple times. I've been to his conferences where he said he would never sell Bitcoin. And sure enough, he did. So you guys have been lucky in the sense that he's kind of got the spotlight on him at all times. I do got to ask, though, since it is public information, you guys did sell about $45 million of Bitcoin, around 71,000 a coin. So great sell here, with Bitcoin being down quite a bit since then. But for a company accumulating Bitcoin, how do you talk to your shareholders that are listening right now of saying, okay, why did you guys need to sell? I'd assume it's to keep operations running and so forth. But what are your thoughts on that? And do you have a similar answer or approach as MSTR, as a net accumulator long-term? Curious what that thought process was like initially, and the impact from hearing from your board members or hearing from investors what you would say to them.
Yeah. So, long before there was Michael Saylor, long before there was idea of public treasury companies, Fold was developing a Bitcoin treasury ourselves. Develops from an idea and a conviction that Bitcoin represents the intelligent way to store long-term capital. And we believe storing that long-term capital in service of powering the business. So we're not here to be, quote unquote, a net accumulator of Bitcoin. That's not what we're here to do. We're here to create a great operating company. And I think that's that the kind of boundaries have been a little bit blurred recently. The rise of these Bitcoin treasury companies that say never sell Bitcoin. All we do is accumulate it. We don't have an actual business, but this is what we do. That's a pretty novel approach. What we do is a lot more traditional. We have capital. We want to store it in the best place possible to support the underlying business over a short, medium, and long term. And in the past, Fold has built a treasury. We've sold a treasury. We've rotated back into Bitcoin, all in service of making sure the company is on the strongest foot to execute. So when we sell Bitcoin, it is not a reversal in any strategy just to hold on to Bitcoin by any means necessary. In fact, Fold believes Bitcoin is money and it should be used to unlock the opportunities we have in front of us. Either if you're an individual, a business owner, or operating a public company like we are today. So selling Bitcoin to us represents a conviction in the underlying business. And it really is a question of this. Does selling Bitcoin put the company in a better position to execute on the tasks at hand that will represent a higher multiple value coming back to shareholders? Yes or no? And that's a decision that's made as time goes by. It's a decision that we recently made where, hey, we're not going to let Bitcoin's volatility get in the way of us executing. So, of course, we're going to put the business on solid footing right as we're about entering our summer with a few major new launches in front of us. It was about de-risking the business amidst a very volatile time in Bitcoin. So I think if you look at the spectrum of companies that hold a treasury, you have Saylor on one side, who at one point said, I would never sell. And then you have Fold on the other side of saying, we sell, we buy when it makes most sense to power the business and put that in the best possible position to get returns for shareholders. So for us, we just think about it in a very, very different way.
Yeah, no, a fair answer. And I think with the treasury companies, it's no secret. Like every stock is down probably 90%. I am holding several of them. And but as a Bitcoiner, I just know, you got to give it some time and things will pop back up. If you've been through the cycles, you're kind of not scared and you view it as buying opportunities when it gets lower and lower. So totally understand that. Now we got the new Fed. Kevin Warsh just took over, said it singles like higher for longer. That was not necessarily what people thought initially for coming in. But Bitcoin's trading as the highest beta risk asset on the board. How do you prepare? And this kind of goes back to my previous question as well. Of like, how do you know when to sell? There's no quarterly earnings reports. The Fed is and rate cuts are obviously play a factor here, but that's us guessing as well. So how do you guys like approach that of when the best time to buy and sell? Because us as retail traders, when my friends ask me, I'm like, I don't know. No one knows, and anyone that tells you is somewhat guessing. But how, you guys, as an institution, I'm sure you guys have some quants that are looking at data and whatnot. But how do you guys go about that? Is it a timing thing of when you guys sell ultimately? Because 71,000, what is it today? Broke 60,000. Now it's 58,000 as of right now. So curious how you guys do that.
We definitely, there are the quants. We do have, we are running the models on what we think Bitcoin may or may not do in the future. But the reality is nobody knows. And you can have degrees of confidence. And so we, again, treat it much, much simpler than this, is that we look at what is the business doing. That's the only thing we can control, what we're shipping. So when we find ourselves in a state of being very bullish and confident on the underlying business and the upcoming timeline of products or major announcements or catalysts. We then look at that against what is Bitcoin's volatility. And if Bitcoin's volatility is very, very high, that represents a risk to the business, because that will change up. That changes up the amount of resources. So we then take a look at what is the minimum amount of stable capital that we can have to support those short-term, medium-term objectives for the business. And from there, we can make the call. And it wouldn't have really mattered if we are 2 months on the, if a bull run happens in 2 months from today, we would have made the same decision, because again, you cannot know when that's going to happen. But the only thing we can know is reacting to the confidence level in our business. And we like to say, selling Bitcoin is an expression of our bullishness in the company itself. And for us, we look at the signals, but most of it is saying, what are we launching? What growth is ahead of us? And do we have enough gas to get us where we need to go? That's the main thing we look at.
And for audience listening, I think now is the best time to get a card like Fold. And this is not an ad for you guys in any capacity, but just whether it's Coinbase, Gemini, or you guys, every time you buy something, you're getting more Satoshis, right? And so I think that's what people need to start thinking in their head, is like, you're stacking these Satoshis, and these are cheaper Satoshis right now. So if you're about to make a big purchase, do it now before Bitcoin's right back at $100,000, so that I feel like it makes sense. So another tougher question, right? The stock's been down 86% over the past year, recently hit a fresh low. Your own directors, though, and this is all, again, public information, are buying shares on the open market, and analysts are still carrying targets well above where it trades. So where do you think like the overall market is wrong about Fold? Do you think it's purely just this, this new world we live in is an attention economy, right? And AI is the attention right now. Do you think it's purely based off the attention economy, or what do you think the market currently has wrong about Fold?
Well, I think it's no secret that we founded to expand the adoption curve and accelerate the adoption curve of Bitcoin, and so that requires you to have a positive view on Bitcoin. And Fold is meant to be a private company that is able to have absorb the successes of Bitcoin's adoption. And when we're in a position where Bitcoin is down 50%, Fold is going to be an amplified reflection of where Bitcoin is at. If you need to believe and be confident in where Bitcoin is going and where Bitcoin is to have conviction in the underlying company. And so to some extent, there's going to be an amplification off of that. So when your core asset's down 50%, it's going to show up more in the equity that is there to support that core asset. Number two is the attention economy is real. Very simply, the focus has gone to where the gains and the momentum is, and that is the truth is AI is absorbing that at an astonishing rate. Now, the fact is that that momentum, that focus is so concentrated in the hands of a few companies that once those companies start to either waver or people start to actually book their gains and sell out of those positions, Bitcoin is going to be a very attractive place for them to put it, and Fold, I believe, is going to be a great way to express that as well. So I think it really is just we are at the deepest depths of a bear market. That is just the reality of where we're at, and it's going to show up. Because you're in equity does not mean you're not going to be less volatile than the underlying asset you are built to support and further. So I think it is really right now is just like everyone declares Bitcoin dead or it's too volatile. That's all these things that happen at the absolute trough. Anything associated with it is going to be reflecting that, and you can see similar moves in in Coinbase. You can see them in the Bitcoin treasuries. You can see it really all over our space. And really, it's not a reflection on the underlying value. It's a reflection on the sentiment in the industry right now. And it is a reality. But again, this is always what our kind of advantage has been building through these very tough times. And you'll see this summer where I think in the midst of one of the worst bear markets, we're going to ship some of the best products we've ever market, and that'll be that's right on the horizon for us.
Yeah, you got to build during the bear market because it swings quick. You brought up a great point too. So SpaceX, they're actually a treasury company themselves, but SpaceX IPO, those cliffs are coming over the next few months of when employees can go and sell their stock. Anthropic's coming around the corner, OpenAI, and all of those companies, they've been there for a while. You make a few $1 million. Where's that money going to go? Like you were just saying, Jody, on my co-founder here, was brought up a great point where that a lot of that money may go into Bitcoin because it's the most asymmetric bet right now, in my opinion. And so when you get a lot of this cash and SpaceX, who knows where that one will go. But a lot of these, I think you have a good point where it starts to slow down. Markets look 6 months ahead always. And those people that now came on a ton of money may look at, hey, what's the lowest price that they still believe in? And a lot of those guys are tech folks that we believe, I've been to enough Bitcoin conferences. It's kind of the same types of people that will be there. And I could see a lot of that money flowing into Bitcoin. So I'm pretty excited about that. Where do you think Bitcoin wraps up this year? I mean, we got, coming up, everyone seems to have had this September, October is the answer from a lot of people. But when there is consensus, I like to zig when they zag. So I don't know if that will be the exact time frame, right? And again, nobody knows. But our friends over at Predict, so they're a sponsor of ours, and they have a fun integration into the show. So this is a prediction market purely based off Bitcoin. So you put in Bitcoin, you take out Bitcoin if you get the prediction correct. I found a fun one: Bitcoin at 150,000 by the end of 2026. What are your thoughts? That's pretty high up. So I would probably take no.
Yeah, I'm going to be on the no on that side of things. I don't think we're going to see. I mean, you just look at the background. I think there's a lot of good catalysts, but a lot of these things are just going to still be unresolved by this time at the end of the year. A lot of the rotations from those IPOs we talked about are not going to be totally complete.
Right.
The Bank of Japan continues to raise rates. Warsh has come in, to maintain where kind of the position where we're at. Inflation continues to be persistent. Who knows what's going to be happening in the macro? There's Clarity Act. There's a few things. But I think we're in like a healing point, and I don't suspect. We're still testing new lows. I think maybe today we've hit a new low potentially, or if not, dumping right back down to it. So 58.6 right now. So I'm going to take no on that.
Yeah,
I think I think just reclaiming really into the mid 80s is a very strong position to be in, and a good spot that would provide a solid accumulation base above that. We never saw blow off the top, and so I do the distance between like an 85 and an 105 is less than it was in previous times. But I just don't think it's going to accelerate that fast to the end of the year. Without massive new buyers coming in.
Yeah, we just the guest we had on yesterday. He's working very closely to the Clarity Act, and he couldn't say everything on record, of course, but from what I gathered, it felt like the Clarity Act may not pass. And you think about too, midterms are coming up, and people need to protect their campaigns, and they don't want to take a crazy risk. And if the Democrats take over the House again, things could, maybe they don't want to make a huge splash right away with the midterms. So
yeah,
Clarity Act. Yeah, go ahead.
The unfortunate thing is, the other side of Bitcoin becoming so politicized and through this last cycle is that it becomes an actual tool to the other side. And when you have Clarity Act, which is, the administration would love to, I think, book this as a win. I think they probably personally stand to gain pretty tremendously off of it. When the other side sees that, for better or worse, however you think about it, it certainly is a good tool to go after, especially if you can paint the narrative of, self-dealing or grift that's attached to it and delegitimize it right ahead of the midterms. They're probably going to take their shot. So I wouldn't be surprised. And I shaky for so once they weren't able to close that back in March or April, I think was the last kind of go around. It's rapidly approaching where people are just not going to touch it until they see how things
go. And the clock's ticking because they're I think they're out till July 15th, and then there's maybe a 2-week window, and then they go back out, for August. I was laughing earlier as you were talking because if we want to get a bunch of Democrats to start loving Bitcoin, Trump just needs to tweet out, I hate Bitcoin. And then we'll get a bunch of Democrats.
He's done it before, and I think he's pretty good at doing some about faces very quickly. So, maybe we will get that and get benefit. Maybe the reverse Kramer effect.
Yeah, exactly. We got to have him do that. To wrap things up, anything you'd tell, I don't know if you can tease out some of the products, but you mentioned some new products that are going to be coming out this summer. If you can say anything on that point, or, to get to the shareholders back excited about, what you guys are building. Again, I actually don't have a Bitcoin credit card, and may go with Fold now, honestly, just because it's such a good point. Like if Bitcoin continues to go lower, like just keep stacking sats while you can do it. But yeah, anything you can share on, tease out at least some of the new products.
Yeah, I think, today what Fold has been building this last year is really a financial platform to handle all your needs, whether that's dollar needs or Bitcoin, and make the process of managing both of them together easy and better than they were in living in two separate places. And so for Fold, I think the most exciting thing is what we're going to do with the rewards program this year. We intend to close out the year being the most rewarding financial firm in the United States that rewards you not only with the highest rates, but on the most types of activity. And I think what you see in this summer is a financial platform that finally takes all of the gains that the bank typically pockets themselves or the credit card pockets themselves, and we throw that right back at our customers. Not just on credit card spend, but on all the things that they're doing. And you'll see kind of Fold's vision for rewards and Bitcoin kind of unify. And I think it's going to be a great tool, especially in a bear market.
Yeah. Well, Will, thank you so much for coming on. Fascinating. Always fun to talk to public because we with the attention economy, we actually made one day to now talk about the stock market. We always loop in Bitcoin when we can, and MSTR and some of the other companies as well. So, it's fantastic to bring you on finally. I know we've been trying for a while. And so thank you so much. I'm going to wrap up with the Arch ad read. You're free to go. I really appreciate it. Arch is one of our friends over for those that want to maintain their Bitcoin, but you need cash. You did the hard part, as we just talked about on this episode. You bought Bitcoin, you held through all the noise. So the last thing you want to do is sell it. And real life still costs money. A tax bill, a big opportunity, maybe a house, a car, a trip. That's why Arch exists. You borrow against your Bitcoin instead of selling it. You get cash today, never trigger a taxable event. Collateral stays 100% yours in a qualified insured bankruptcy remote custody. Check them out today, archlending.com/dailystack. That is archlending.com/dailystack. They have the lowest rates in the industry. And if you use the Daily Stack promo, that is 1% on top of that. So thank you all today. Unfortunately, Sniper did give me a call just now, and he said he cannot make the 2:30. So we're going to be wrapping up today, but we will be back at 12:30 tomorrow. Thanks everyone for listening, and make sure to follow Will on Twitter at Will Reeves, Fold at Fold_, it's at Fold_app. And then if you're not following us, of course, Daily Stack HQ on X and Daily Stack Live on YouTube. Thanks, everyone. We'll be back tomorrow at 12:30 Eastern.